almost doesn't matter. The reason it almost doesn't matter is because what we did was when we hit the social media piece, right? The beginning went very smooth. Then when we hit the social media piece, we realized that there was so much information we had to separate it in two, right? And now we're going to talk about systems and processes. And I feel like next week it's almost going to be a to be continued, because next week we're going to be tapping into the lion's share of the market and, identifying where these systems and processes need to be adapted into, right? So I have a feeling that this 13-week program is going to end up being like a, 17, 18-week program, right? Which again is fine, as long as you guys can commit 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every Thursday. I'm going to be here. But here's the craziest part. Guess what? When this is over, right? When the SOP platform is over, we're just going to continue on with massive masterminds and massive stuff, right? And a lot of times you're going to find that it's not, I'm going to share the stage with a lot of people once this SOP is over. I've got a lot of folks that want to just give in education and coaching. And you're going to find a situation in which I will be hosting a lot of people on our Thursday masterminds. Should be insane and incredible, guys. So the first thing we always do, because we are who we are, it's a freedom day, right? Today is a freedom day. I wake up every morning, I say the same thing. It is absolutely a freedom day. I want to build my freedom. Go ahead and type it in the chat group right there. Freedom day, baby. Type it in the chat group. I'm going to wait. I need to see everybody type it in the chat. Everybody's doing this to develop more freedom for themselves. And the funny part is, as we get into the systems and processes, we're going to talk about how crazy it is we got in this business, right? The real estate business, to create flexibility and freedom. And we find ourselves slaves to the business. And we're going to talk about ways to get past that, right? Love it, guys. Thank you for jumping in and doing this. So what are systems? Simple. A system is a strategy of repeatable steps that create the same results over and over again. Okay, I'm going to repeat that for you. A system is a strategy of repeatable steps that create the same results over and over again. So, funny thing, 2 days ago, I'm on a friend's boat, or yacht, I should say. It's like a 76-foot thing. And we're sitting down, and he writes code. He likes to write code, right? And so we're sitting down, we're talking, and he says, your business, referring to me, the real estate business, the coach, he goes, it's so volatile because every deal has like a different thing going on. And in mortgage, everybody has a different mortgage situation. Everybody has a different type of house they're buying. And so I told him, I said, you're right. Something that I often say to people in this industry is, really, every deal has its own heartbeat and soul. Like every deal is like a brand new child coming into your life, right? And so when you look at this, when you look at it like that, okay, you're looking at it saying every deal needs to be treated with a specific kind of adjustment step, so forth and so on. But doesn't rule out that we can have repeatable systems in place that happen all the time. And that's kind of what we're going to go over. And the reason he was bringing this conversation up with me was because he's a coder, right? So he says, if I sit down and I write a code, as long as I wrote that code properly, every time I begin the process that I wrote that code for, it's going to do exactly what it's supposed to do. And it's going to create the exact same result, right? And so what I want to try and convince you guys today is that we are, as human beings, one of the most incredible computer systems on the planet, right? Like we really are, right? Everything works for something. It's all connected. If one thing doesn't work, it throws everything else off, or it enhances other things, right? Like that is the human body. That's who we are, okay? So I want to try to get you guys by the end of this session to be thinking about, how do I write code in my brain, right? How am I going to write code in my brain to create systems that I can commit to repeating consistently enough so that I'm getting the same results over and over and over again. And in that code, like any software, like any computer code, I'm going to test it and test it and test it and test it. And then when something happens and I go, man, I don't really like that, I'm going to adjust because we can, because we're not robots, right? So I'm going to adjust that. I'm going to write new code. And I'm going to say this piece, I'm going to take this piece out and I'm going to insert this piece. And I'm going to change the DNA of this whole thing. And so now you have the opportunity to make adjustments accordingly. Here's the best part. The idea of having systems and processes in place are so that once you've created the code, you've tested it, you've adjusted what needs to adjust. Now it works perfect. Well, shoot, now you could grab somebody else, pull them in, sit them down and tell them every time it gets to the end of this code, I need you to hit enter to restart it, because it works exactly the way that you want it to work. So now you're in a situation where your systems are so good that you can delegate. Okay, so we're going to get into that too. All right, so thinking about yourself on a daily basis, you may already have some systems in place. Now, I want to be very clear. When I say systems, I'm not necessarily talking about technology. As a matter of fact, most systems that you will find out there in your business are not necessarily technology. They're just the way you handle things in accordance with the way that you feel they should be treated. You may have already those systems in place, right? There are things that you do every day. You may not even realize it, but it's systemized, right? Like, for instance, when you lead gen, right? You might do it a very specific way that nobody else does. I like to stand up when I lead gen. I like to get on the phone. I like to walk, which is why I don't sit down. I put my AirPods in. I dial a phone number. When I'm communicating with somebody, I'm like, yo, I'm burning a hole in the rug in this office, right? That is my system. This is what I do. In order for me to do that, I need this right here. I know that, right? I know that. This is a part of my process. This is part of my system. What's in here? Cold brew coffee, a little bit of sugar, it's coconut milk. Gets me going. I love it to death, right? So that being a part of my process, I can document that, which is something that we're going to get into. You do these things every day. If you've got kids, there are things that you do every single morning with them, right? They wake up, you feed them, you do X, you drop them off at school. Even the school has a system in place, right? The school has where the car goes in, where you're supposed to be online, where you drop off your kid, where you exit, which way you could turn. That's a system. Okay, so it's not always technology. It's not always in the way that when people say systems, are always thinking like computers, right? No, man, that's not it necessarily. It could be as simple as the way you communicate. It could be as simple as the way you run your morning, right? So like we could say 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. What's systematic about that for you, right? Could be gym, you could be a yogi, you could be a meditator, you could be like all kinds of stuff. What's happening in that time frame, 5 to 9, that you are systematically taking care of yourself? What does that process look like for you? Some of you may have to cut off the 9. I say 9 because we think workday starts at 9, right? But what if you got kids? Well, then that's not really taking care of yourself, it's taking care of somebody else. Maybe I got to push it back to 7. So what does 5 to 7 look like for you? And we'll talk about that timing as well, right? All right, so I want to focus on what we consider the idea, right? Identifying, documenting, executing, and automating, right? That's what we're going to focus on today. That's what I want to really stress to you guys today. Like I said, this can continue into next week, so stand by. I'm going to be extremely respectful for your time. As a matter of fact, Katya or Mike, I need you guys to let me know when it is 11:45 Eastern Standard Time. Cool?
Sure.
All right, thank you. So once it's 11:45, I'll begin to close out, but I just want to make sure I'm super respectful for your time. So identify, document, execute, automate. What do we mean by this? Well, okay, so there's a part of my business, right? And we'll talk about the different parts that you probably already have in your head, but there's a part of my business that I need to identify. Then I need to document the steps necessary to complete that part of my business. Then I need to execute it and automate it, right? So this is what we were talking about a little bit before, writing that code, right? So I identified what needed to be done. I documented it by writing that code. I executed it so many times that I made sure the code was fucking 100% right, okay? And then I grabbed somebody else. I said, sit here and press enter, and I automated it, right? So, and I'm going to give you some great automation ideas and great tools that you can use to automating your business. All right. So first thing we're going to talk about is identifying what parts of your business urgently needs attention and systems. What part of your business urgently needs attention and systems? So let's look at this. And some of you guys are already thinking this, right? Lead generation, lead management, which, by the way, lead gen and lead management, two completely different things. And we'll touch on that, right? Transaction management, right? So, and marketing and branding, administrative work. So if I pull this, right, and I probably look super small on your screen, but I'm going to pull this forward so you guys can see it, right? So if I think of lead gen, which we're going to spend some time on today talking about, but if I think of lead gen and I focus on lead generation, right, what am I doing? I'm going to look for my avatars. I'm going to think about how I lead gen. Do I make calls? Do I text? Am I using realtor.com? Am I using Zillow? Am I doing what David said and setting up my Google ads and doing that stuff, right? Am I focused on friends and family, right? Am I doing the F&F? Okay. And so when you look at all these different things, you can identify, okay, well, this is what I do. I wake up in the morning and from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., I lead gen. Well, what do I do to lead gen? So let's play this card right here, okay? We're identifying lead generation. So I'm gonna write this up here as we go. Okay, so, and I wrote these topics up here, take a screenshot. You know, I'm going to send you the video anyway, so we're squared away. As long as you registered on that, on the Eventbrite and you're a registered person, every time we finish these presentations at the end, you're going to get an email. On that email is going to be a link to every single video that we've already completed. And then at the end of the SOP, all these videos will be loaded into a system and each one of you will have access to that system free of charge, right? Okay, so let's start with one right now, lead generation. Okay, let's look at the steps, right? So I know that I need a place to go. I know that I need my phone. I know that I need a list of some sort, right? If it's contacts on my phone, if it's my CRM, if it's anything like that, then I know, okay, so I've got what my steps are, but what really needs to be done. All right, so calls need to be done, texts need to be done, video text. We talk about this consistently, video text, right? Because we need to really focus on the psychological part of sales. People want to know, like, and trust you in order to do business with you. In order for that to happen, let's think about the psychology of knowing, liking, and trusting somebody. If you text me consistently, do I know you? Can I even like you? Right? I mean, it's a far-fetched opportunity, but maybe not. I'm going to go leaning more towards maybe not. But if you text and call me, well, now I've got a little bit of sound, right? Now, if you send me a video, well, then I've executed on two parts of the psychological aspect of knowing someone, right? So you've got sight, touch, and sound. These are the three aspects psychologically in order to get into a relationship with somebody and have an opportunity to work with them. Now, this is the same for dating or any of that, by the way, right? I know some people have long distance relationships. They never met each other in their lives and they talk on a computer. That's just not the normality of life, right? So if I send somebody a text, how many of these do I hit? None. But if I send somebody or if I make a phone call, well, then I've adapted into sound, right? That's one of the three. But if I send somebody a video text, and I just grab my phone and I go, yeah, I'm gonna pick a name on here. Let me see. And I go, Ben, how you doing, man? It's David. I'm so glad that you showed up on my coaching platform. No, let's get together and have a one-on-one soon. and I send that video to him, right? Or let's say Cedric. Hey, Cedric, what's going on? David Kerr is here. You just registered on my website. I wanted to reach out to you, let you know that I'm here to help you out with whatever you need in your home search. How long did that take me? No time at all. I'm talking seconds, right? Okay, not even half a minute. But by sending that video by text message, right? What have I accomplished? Sight. So now I've got sight and sound. I'm 2/3 in on creating a relationship with this person. If I stay consistent with these two pieces, I can pretty much guarantee that at some point, shake the hand, or in good Miami style, we're going to hug each other, right? And there's a touch piece. And you'd be surprised, just by sight and sound consistently, how many people feel like they already know you when you step in front of them. Okay. So then you get that touch option. I shook your hand, gave you a hug, said, what's up? How you doing? Very nice to meet you. Right. And so that opportunity right there helps you create that relationship. Now, the reason I talk about this so much is because in order to create a massive amount of sales and a massive amount of wealth in the sales department, you have to have a massive, intensive amount of relationship. Okay. So going back to the lead gen, what needs to be done? Well, all of this right here needs to be done. And then how can we time it and control it? Right. So we start thinking about that. Well, when am I going to do this? Right. Is it going to be on Monday morning? Is it going to be on a weekly basis? How much time am I going to spend on this? And is it going to be 2 hours a day consistently? Right. Which is what I recommend to most people. If you're in this business, okay, and you want to grow your business, your sales business, at least 2 hours a day should be focused on generating new business. Now, here's the crazy part. I never said following up with previous business. I said generating new business, 2 hours a day. Then you should pick another time in your day and spend 1 to 2 hours a day doing massive follow-up on the people you already have in your business. Massive follow-up, right? The people have already worked with you. The people who have already closed with you. The people who have families and friends that if you stay committed in a relationship with them, they would just refer you to everyone they know, right? And then we've got, obviously I put on there, where will the leads come from? There's so many different options, right? Everyone here has a cell phone with contacts in it. That's lead generation 101 right there, right? Am I going to networking events, right? Am I a realtor who specializes in, say, doctors and lawyers? And am I going to events that are focused on doctors and lawyers? Am I going to those galas? Am I going to these events, those meetups, those networking spots? Am I doing that, right? Because you know who is there? The medical sales rep person, right? The medical sales rep person is going to all the doctor events. Why? Because they sell medical products. But guess what? If you specialize in doctor loans, or you specialize in doctors, and that's your avatar and that's who you focus on, well, guess what? You should probably be going there. I would even venture to say you should be having lunch every day in the cafeteria at the hospital so that you can consistently run into people that you work with, right? All right, and then we talk about best practice and technique, okay? So you're gonna have your systems in place and you're gonna start developing this way. And so what's gonna happen next is we're going to document these systems, okay? So I like to think of it in a backwards situation, right? So most people would start, okay, well, in order to do this, I need to pick a place. No, let's look at backwards, right? So, and I'm going to stay on the lead generation conversation so that way we don't sway too much, like going into marketing and stuff like that, just creating the system for lead gen, right? So I think to myself, okay, I got to put this in writing. I got to refer to it over time, right? This is something that I'm going to look at consistently, which is the epitome and the entire culture behind the SOP, behind the standard operating procedure, is something that I can go back to and consistently refer to so that I can continue to do the same thing over and over again, creating the same exact results and adjusting and fixing and cleaning up as I go along the way, right? And then what do I need actually step by step, and then what gives me the greatest results in the process. So I'm looking at it backwards, right? So here's the crazy part, right? I'm going to go through this and I might say, how many closings do I need to have over the next 12 months, right? Okay, so again, you see I'm going backwards with this, right? So I might say closings over the next 12 months, I want to have 12. As a real estate agent, I want to have 12 closings over the next 12 months, right? Then I'm going to look at this and I'm going to say, well, how many contracts do I need to write in order to have 12 closings? Well, just look at your average. Go back in time. Last 3 months, I put out about 3 contracts per person, right? We could do it that way, right? Okay. So Katya, are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right. I want you to help me do some math. You ready?
Sure.
All right. What's 12 times 3? I know you're getting your calculator.
36. No, I muted myself.
Oh, okay.
I got the baby in my hand. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry about that. All right. So keep the calculator out. Okay.
Okay.
Keep the calculator out. So when I look at this, I go, okay, I need 12 closings this year, right? So I need to write 36 contracts because on average, each of all the clients that I'm working with and actually getting a closing with, I'm having to put out about 3 contracts per person, right? And then I'll say, well, in order to put out 36 contracts in a year, right? Well, how many meetings do I have to reach my contract goal? Okay. How many meetings do I need to have to write 36 contracts, which means I have 12 clients, 36 contracts. How many meetings do I need to have 12 clients and 36 contracts? I'll start doing the math on that and I go multiple of 5. That's my theory. That's what I've tested. That's how I've reviewed. Okay. Now, some people will tell you it's a multiple of 7. It just really depends how good of a closer you are. Right. So we'll go multiple of 5. Okay. So what's 12 times 5, Katya?
60.
This year, I need to have 60 meetings with potential clients in order to convert 12 this year, right? Now, here's the crazy part. We got to dial this back, right? So what's 60 divided by, well, that's an easy one. What's 60 divided by 12? 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that means you have 5 per month consistently in order to reach your goal. 5 per month in order to reach your goal. Okay. Now let's dig into this even more. In order to have meetings, I actually have to begin with real conversations, right? I need to get somebody on the phone and actually say, hey, what's up? This is David Kurz, the Kurz team. How can I help you with your property? So forth, so on. They tell me their property or how many bedrooms and bathrooms you're looking for. Are you pre-approved? Are you buying cash? When is the earliest you could get out? I can line up 4 or 5 properties for us to go see this weekend, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Those are conversations, okay? Or somebody refers you, your sister, your brother, your cousin, your uncle refers you to somebody, say, hey, my sister, brother, uncle, cousin referred me to you, right? And so now I just want to reach out to you and talk about your home purchase or what's going on or your home sale, having those conversations. Those lead to the meetings, right? How many of those conversations do I need to have? We're going to go multiplier of 3. What's 60 times 3 on conversations?
180.
All right, so I need to have 180 conversations in order to reach my goal. Okay, now how many attempted calls need to happen in order for me to have 180 conversations? I'm gonna give you that multiplier. For every 5 phone calls you make, one person's gonna pick up the phone. For every 5 phone calls you make, one person's gonna pick up the phone. But if I am lead generating via Google and other places, and I'm getting leads that are registering on my website, that multiplier actually turns to 10. Okay. So because of that, we're going to use a multiplier of 7. We're going to play the middle. Okay. So we get a multiplier 7. What's 7 times 180? Are you muted?
1260.
1260.
1,260. 1260.
All right. We're going to call them attempted calls, right? These are calls that you made, 1,260 calls you made consistently in order to find yourself to have 180 conversations, in order to have 60 meetings, to write 36 contracts, to have 12 closings, right? Listen, this is not rocket science. It's just numbers, right? It is what it is. It's just numbers, okay? So now, how many leads do I need to intake in order for me to get to this number, right? Well, if that's the case, I'm going to multiply this by 3. Give me 1260 times 3.
3780.
I need to generate 3,780 leads. This is today's day and age, by the way. This wasn't the same shit 20 years ago, but we live in a different world, right? So I take these leads right here, and I'm going to house them in a CRM. And we're going to talk more about that now. That's why that last thing says, where are you housing those leads? Because it is virtually impossible for one person here, okay, to tap into 3,700 leads, 3,700 plus leads, and remember everyone's situation, right? It's virtually impossible. Here's the crazy part. This is year 1. If you kept this system going every single year, year for year, it would not result in 12 closings next year, okay? It would result in 36 closings next year. The reason for that, in these conversations and meetings, you're going to have prior clients. And this is where most real estate agents and most salespeople screw up big time. They got people they close and they treated them like a transaction. They treated them like ordering a number 2 at McDonald's. That's what they treated them like. They helped them through this massive process of purchasing the most expensive thing they've ever bought in their lives and putting their entire livelihood and all their savings into the potential purchase of this. And then at the end, they said, congratulations, here's your bottle of wine, here's your cake, here's your champagne. We're so excited. All right, see you later. On to the next one. And they never, ever communicate with the prior client. And I'm going to help you guys with a little cute, cool little systems that you could do to stay in touch with your prior clients. Because if you consistently do this and you include your prior clients in this system, this will multiply by 3 on a yearly basis. Most people don't see that multiplier again because they don't do this consistently. And they definitely don't do this consistently, right? They're not doing the initial foundation groundwork, and they're not doing the follow-up at all. And it's horrible. Think about other people like mortgage lenders, right? You got a couple mortgage folks on this call. It's not all real estate related, okay? Or realtor related, I should say. For the lenders that are on this call right now, how many times, I want you to be honest with yourself. Don't answer me here. This is for you. But how many times do you actually, from the people that consistently send you business, or the people that send you a business once or twosies every month or other month, how often do you call them to see how they're doing? I'm not talking about the conversation that happens over a deal that you guys are in together. Oh, we talk all the time. Yeah, you talk all the time because you have deals together. But when was the last time you just called them out of the blue and said, hey, Jim, hey, John, hey, Joseph, hey, Katya, hey, Michael, hey, Roger, how you doing today? What's going on, man? How's your family? How's everything going? You know, I just wanted to chat it up with you. I know we always talk about the business, but I just wanted to chat it up with you and see how everything's going. Dude, we should grab a cup of coffee. And if your answer to yourself is, sheesh, I never do that, then you're not capitalizing on your business the way you should be. Not at all. Okay. So do this for me, Katya. 1260 divided by 12. You still there?
105.
How much is it?
105.
Michael, 105. Okay. This right here, these 1,260 calls is 105 calls a month. Still sounds like a lot, right? Okay. Hey, Michael, let's go Monday through Friday. Let's take 105 and divide it by 20.
That's 5.25.
All I'm asking you to do is have 5 conversations a day, Monday through Friday. See, we worked it backwards. We started with this small number, and then we got all these really big numbers that made us feel all freaking worried inside. Like, oh my God, how am I going to get 3780 leads? How am I going to get 1,260 calls in? How am I going to create 180 conversations? I'm asking you to make 5.25 calls a day, Monday through Friday. I'm not even bothering you on Saturday and Sunday. Now, if you believe that you can make 5 phone calls a day, chat in the box. I can do it. Just chat in the box. I can do it. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So let me push this aside. We're having fun right now because I'm digging it. I know you guys are feeling me right now. We're only halfway through this, by the way. Okay. Now, you see what we've done here. We came up with a process, right? We came up with lead gen, and we looked at lead gen and we said, that's where I want to go ahead and start focusing on. So now we go to execute, right? So once you have this all documented, right? This is everything I need to do. Okay. Now, this gets even better, by the way. I'm going to go back because this is insane, right? Let's have some fun, bro. Let's have some fun. All right. So I know all this. I know all this. Okay. And I have to make those 5 calls a day. So I'm going to tap into this. When am I going to make those 5 calls a day? Well, I'm going to commit 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Monday through Friday. I'm going to put it in my schedule. I'm going to do it from home, locked up in my room, and I'm going to utilize, let's say, I'm going to do some Google ads. I'm going to do some Facebook ads. I'm going to do some Instagram ads. Oh, and by the way, I'm also going to do some reels. And I'm going to send, and then lead gen is going to be based on a couple of things, right? So in those 2 hours, because it doesn't take 2 hours to make 5 calls, right? Let's think about this. In those 2 hours, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play on texting people, calling people, sending messages by DM, right? Reaching out to people. You're scrolling through that Instagram, you intentionally reach out to people and talk to them, right? And then obviously these calls need to focus on your business. So you can start out with the, hey, what's up? How the kids? But then you have to eventually lead into the business. Hey, I don't know if you are or someone you know is, but you know I'm in real estate. So anyone you know that is focused on real estate, I would love for them to be referred to me. Oh, but my cousin's a realtor. Is your cousin a full-time realtor? No, they're not a full-time realtor. I am. And you know what I would do? If you sent me business and you said, don't forget my cousin, well, then I would send your cousin a referral. Because I want your cousin to focus on their job and me focus on my job and me thank them for not getting in my way. How fun is that conversation, by the way? Right? How fun. People always come to me, especially here in Miami. Oh, but Dave, there's 56,000 real estate agents in South Florida, and it's so competitive. Hey, guys, out of the 56,000, 2,000 of them are actually selling real estate. As a matter of fact, less than 1,000 of them are doing 90% of the business. It's not that competitive. Everybody just happens to have a license. All you got to do is prove that you know what you're doing. All right. So now we come in here to execute. You document this in order to delegate it, but you cannot delegate it yet. Right. So remember when we go, let's go back to the code, right? We wrote the code. right? And then we executed on it. We tested it, and tested it in order for us to know what works and what doesn't work, what part of the code to extract, what part of the code needs to be rewritten, what part of the code needs to be adjusted. And we did that on purpose because we, as job entrepreneurs, as like pushers, as builders, as growers, as leaders, right? We need to know our own systems. So we can't delegate this yet. A lot of you are already thinking about, well, I could hire an ISA and my ISA will hit my database. No, you need to know what needs to be done first and how it's going to work for you, your neighborhood, your people, your culture, your area. And then when you hire an ISA to make some of these phone calls for you, you train them systematically to your SOP, right? So now you go through the process a few times, you see what works for you, what doesn't, you adjust, you fix, you adjust, you fix. And then we lead to the best part, right? Oh, I'm sorry, we lead to the best part, but you know, these systems are going to require structure. So remember what you think about, right? Pick a place, pick a time. What are you drinking? What do you need? How many of these are you doing? Everything we just talked about right now, right? Now we're going to talk about automate. This is when you get to delegate and iterate, right? This is a beast all on its own. We could have an entire session on automation. I'm going to break it down for you guys because look, these are free coaching sessions, right? So I'm giving you like the tip of the iceberg. I'm going to need y'all to come with the ice pick, okay? And I'm going to need y'all to do some research. And I'm going to need y'all to pick away at the ice. Pick away at the ice because I'm giving you what you need to know, what you need to hear, and how you need to execute on it. And you're going to want to know more. You're going to want to become better at it. And there's nothing wrong with going to YouTube or going to Google or doing the research and finding this out, right? Or looking at somebody in your market that's doing it tremendously well and going to sit down with them, buy them a cup of coffee, right? So now this is my favorite part because I love automation, right? We got to be smart. All right. So now that you know what systems you need, you can hire out or you can tech out in order to execute in your business, right? So you can hire out or you can tech out. What do I mean by that? The hiring out means you're hiring personnel to take over some of the systems that you've developed in your business, right? You're taking your SOP, you're giving it to this person. You're saying, I need you to do this for me. That is the style of automation. That is the part we call delegating. Now it's no longer on our plate. It allows us to do something that's way more important than the actual systemization. The systemization is going to bring us people, or it's going to take those people to the closing table, or it's going to standardize communication with them after the closing table. So now I'm looking at this and I'm going, what can I do? What can I delegate? What are the worst parts of my job that I absolutely hate, right? So somebody once asked me like, okay, I want to hire an admin, but what job am I supposed to give them? I said, man, this is easy. I said, I want you to grab a piece of paper, okay? I want you to draw a line down the middle of that paper. And I want on the left side, I want you to write love. And on the right side, I want you to write hate. And then I want you to think about your business. I want you to write down everything you absolutely love to do in your business. And then on the other side, I want you to write all the things that you hate doing in your business, but they're absolutely necessary and required for growth. And then take that hate part and make that the job description for your administrator. Hire the right person that can take control of that part of your life so that you can dominate on the things you absolutely love. I've had people tell me, you got to, if you're bad at something, you have to work on that. Why? If I'm good at something, I'd rather become great at it and then hire somebody who's good at the things I'm bad at and have them do that. That just makes so much more sense to me. That is what businesses do. That's what entrepreneurs do, right? So now this is the part where you get to be smart. What do you think about when you're automating? Templates is one. And I wrote templates because a lot of people, they don't really think about this being automation, but it is, right? There are automated parts there are templates that you could create for emails that need to be consistently sent out, right? So like, for instance, our transaction coordinator. right? Every time we go under a contract on a deal, there's an email that goes out to one group of people and an email that goes out to another group of people, introducing, setting timelines, doing all this stuff. Instead of rewriting that email consistently, there's a template for it. We take the template, we fill in the blanks, we send it out, right? You've got lead management systems or CRMs, which we'll touch on a little bit now. Automated communication, that's another one, right? So how can we automate communication with leads that are inbound, clients that are in process, and clients that are finished with the process? And how do we get the clients that are finished with the process to bring us more leads that are inbound so we can turn them into clients in process, then rotate them out of process? How do we create this vicious cycle of massive business and income, right? Timelines and actions to execute. That's something that we talked about a few minutes left. All right, I got 15 minutes left. I'm gonna run through this, guys. All right, so timelines and actions to execute. We had, when we talked about when am I gonna do this? What time frame and what time am I blocking out, right? We're gonna touch on that a little bit more. And then for who, right? Who am I doing this for? All right, so let's tap. All right, so CRM. I need to be massively intentional when I talk to you right now about a client relationship management tool. Now, many of you are with real estate companies that give you a CRM, right? If they don't give you a CRM and you ain't got the money to invest in a CRM, which, by the way, there are CRMs out there that are $25 a month and they're phenomenal, okay? And I'll send you some examples of what those are. So start with a spreadsheet. If you can't afford $25 a month, start with a spreadsheet. It's really that easy. You don't have a, Dave, I don't have Excel. You got Gmail, right? Create a Gmail. Google's free. Create a Gmail, right? davidkurz@gmail.com, right? And now I have access to Google Sheets, which is basically a living Excel spreadsheet. Come on, right? Start with a quick spreadsheet. Jump it out there. What do I have on my spreadsheet? Well, I got the person's name, phone number, email address, where they are in the process of communication with me, and all my notes on that person. And this is something I can refer to because it's a living document. I can access it from my phone. I can access it from a laptop. I can access it from Jamaica. I can access it from Japan. I can access it from Canada, from New York, from Texas, from California. No matter where I am in the world, I can access that to consistently stay on top of my client relationships, right? Once you feel like you can afford it, move to an affordable one. You can graduate to more intense ones, but use them or be hungry. I always say this: use your CRM or just stay hungry, right? Because you'll never satisfy your bank account, your hungers, your desires, your dreams if you can't control and stay consistent with client relationships. Remember in the beginning when we started talking, we said, man, this game is all about developing relationships. That's what it is. We are a relationship-based business. I don't care if you sell lollipops, bicycles, real estate, or loans. You are in a relationship-based business. So use your CRM very well, okay? Now, document everything that happens. This is so big, man. You know, people say, I've got a CRM and all my clients are in there. And then when they show me their CRM, there are 0 notes in the CRM. There is nothing in there that tells me anything about any client. Well, that doesn't help at all. If you're trying to bring in 3,700, leads a year, right? Just in the example that we were looking at, imagine if you start hitting 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 leads a year, right? And those leads are coming in. And every time you have a conversation with them, they got a different story. Remember that thing that I said it earlier? I said, every deal has its own heartbeat and soul. Absolutely 100%. So if I take this and I don't document what is happening with each and every client, I'm screwing myself because I'll never know what to say to that client the next time we have a communication, next time we talk, right? Imagine if I have a conversation with, I don't know, let's use Katya. Katya, are you able to chat or you're not? You're not. Talk to me. I'm gonna keep using you today. By the way,
I'm here. The baby fell asleep finally.
All right, cool. How many kids you have, Katya?
4.
All right, so listen to this conversation, guys. If we role played, right? And I said, hey, Katya, how you doing, man? My name's David. You registered on my website looking for a house. You know, what's important to you in the search for your home? And let's say Katya comes up to me and she says, look, Kai, listen, you know, we live in a 2-bedroom condo right now, and we need a 4-bedroom house. I got 4 kids, you know, a couple of them boys, a couple of them girls, whatever, you know, I don't, and, you know, we got this situation. Now they start talking to me. She's telling me her life story, right? My husband and I, we got to take care of this. We're recently married. We got this. He's got kids from a previous marriage. So, you know, we got to have space for them, so forth, so on. And now she's telling me this, and I'm saying, okay, well, let's think about this. What areas you want to be in, right? But as she's telling me this, I'm jotting this down, vigorously writing all these notes down or typing them into my CRM. I don't like to type and listen at the same time. I'd rather jot things down. I will also tell Katya, I would say, hey, Katya, by the way, if I'm silent for a minute, it's because I'm writing all this information down. I don't want to forget it, right? You know, oh, my husband and I, oh, cool. What's your husband's name? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. I write that down, right? And so, you know, oh, what are your kids' names? How old are they? That's so cute, right? And then as you're having these conversations, I want you to think about this. You put all this information to CRM. And Katya says, listen, I'm not ready right now. I have a lease, but you know what? I will be ready in about 6 months. When should we start talking again? Look, Katya, I think it's a good idea for us to talk again 3 months prior to the lease expiration, because I got lenders that'll rate lock you for 3 months or more, right? So we could lock in rates. We could be happy. We could calmly go look at properties and get you out on time to be out of your lease, okay? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna follow up with you every couple of weeks until then. Is that okay? Yeah, Dave, that's great. Okay, cool. Put Katya on an automated drip campaign, sending her homes on a consistent basis, because one of those homes might like Katya's fire. And so, hey, Dave, listen, I don't care if I break my lease. I spoke to my landlord. I love that house. Let's go look at it, right? That could happen. It does happen, right? And then I take that and I have that, let's say 2 months from now, I'm looking at my notes. I'm doing my bi-weekly call to Katya and I say, hey, Katya, how you doing today, man? How the kids? You know, I know school just get let out. You know, the ones that are in school, like is, you know, Johnny and Jane out of class yet? You know, are they out of class? Yeah. So what are you gonna do with them for the summer? You know, baby's growing, I'm sure. Oh my God, the baby's growing, so eating all day. Oh, that's wonderful, right? Why do I know this? Because I have it all written down in my CRM. Why is that important? Because I'm developing a relationship with Katya. Because I know that 98.9% of real estate agents out there are not professional enough to create a relationship. And because of that, I'm always going to be the win, because even if another realtor calls her, they're not going to ask her the right questions. They're not going to create the relationship. They're just going to be like, hey, Katya, how you doing? Ready to look at houses now? Because they're order takers, because they're number 2s at McDonald's, right? Okay. And then create automation for in the CRM. So there are different drip campaigns. But by the way, a lot of these CRMs come with drip campaigns. What is a drip campaign? A drip campaign is something that you could turn on for a particular client, and it'll consistently send them emails and text messages, emails and text messages, right? To stay in communication with them. And you just schedule yourself for that bi-weekly call. All of that is in the drip automation. You'll get reminders. 2 weeks from now, I get a reminder to call Katya and follow up with her. I can't ignore that reminder. It's going to be on my dashboard of my CRM. When I get that 9 to 11, I'm going to spend some time and I'm going to cultivate that relationship with her consistently, right? Now, I use Google Calendar. You use whatever you want. I highly suggest using something that is live and mobile, right? If it's not on your schedule, it does not exist. Do not let anyone mess with your schedule. See, again, order takers, right? If I'm standing behind the counter at McDonald's, you could come in anytime you want to and order that number 2, and there's nothing I can do about it. I just need to take that order. Don't be that person in real estate. If somebody calls you and says, I need to see this house, can we do it at 10 a.m. tomorrow? Scarcity says, yes, let's go tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'm ready to go. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Or you could respect yourself and respect your calendar and know that from 9 a.m. to 11, you're in this mode, and say, hey, listen, I have a very important meeting tomorrow between 9 and 11. Are you available at 12? People will respect you for that. Now, I'm not saying it's always going to work. Some people might say, no, actually, I have a flight to catch at 12, which is why I need to go at 10. Well, okay, you might have to break away that one day. But don't just jump at it for no daggone reason whatsoever. Time blocking is everything, everything. Okay, so block the time necessary. There are people on here that know me well, know they can reach out to me anytime they want, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to pick up the phone because I am thoroughly time blocked. And I know when I can reach out to people and when I can't. Because if not, then I'm just a Velcro board and all these little things are being thrown at me consistently. And I'm just trying to catch everything. You can't run a business that way. You have to run a business organized, systematic, and processed. And that's what today's all about, right? So if you go to the gym, if you're a gym person, put that in your calendar. You're a yogi, put that in your calendar, right? You got to take the kids to school, block out time for that. Okay. Lead generation, block out time for that. Showing homes, block out time for that. Make it so that your calendar is so organized that you know exactly when I wake up in the morning, I can say, hey, Google, what am I going to do? What's on my schedule for today? And Google runs through my calendar, right? And I know exactly what I got going on. What times do I leave open for potential meetings? And so I can use systems like Calendly, where I could send somebody my Calendly link and they can schedule themselves on my calendar. What times do I leave open for that? That again is also time blocking. I'm not closing it out, but I know, and in that time frame, somebody can schedule a meeting. And what if they don't schedule a meeting, David? What if this 3-hour time frame that I left open and no meetings are scheduled with me? Well, shoot, and I ain't got nothing to do. I'm coming back to lead gen. I'm going to follow up with my old clients. I'm going to see how they're doing. I'm going to talk to my partners. I'm going to do that kind of stuff because that's where the money's at. Okay. I got 5 minutes, so we're going to run through this. Some extra tools, right? Note cards. You can do them personally or you can automate them. Okay. Gifts for clients, super big to keep them knowing that they're on your mind, right? And again, it's great to give a closing gift. It's cool. What happens after, right? That's equally, probably, I'm not going to say equally, of greater importance, okay? Consistent communication after closing clients for life. We got to do clients, we got to have clients for life. Hiring administrators, hiring a transaction coordinator, hiring inside sales associates to make calls for you and set appointments for you, right? A growth manager, a team and office manager. What's a growth manager? Well, if you got a team, maybe you need a manager to help grow the team by recruiting and hosting some classes and sessions and trainings and so forth, so on. It's all about growth. They're all about growth. Team and office manager, people who help you run your business, right? People that you can rely on that are going to help you run your business. All of this comes as you continue to build out your systems, right? All right, so make sure you follow me on IG and tag me, David Adam Kurz. Last week when we did all the social media training, I said, tag me, tag me, tag me. I tell you right now, we had 30 plus attendees. I got tagged by like 2 people. I promise you, I will share it. I got like 24,000 people following me on Instagram. If I share it, you might get some of those. That's cool. I'm okay with that. I'm not afraid of the competition, guys. All right. The next session next week, we're going to dial down on changing markets, right? It's happening right now. We're going to dial down on how to work on your changing markets. Don't forget South Florida Mastermind, July 15th through the 17th. Sign up for this. The link is in the email that you guys receive. I do still have some open seats, but not many. Okay. This is maxed out at 35 people. It's a very intensive and very strong mastermind. The people that have already signed up to come are great, producing, top-level individuals that you're not going to want to miss out on. Okay, so that is the end of my presentation. I do want to show you a couple of things before I leave you. I got 2 minutes, right? 2 minutes. Okay. So Cedric, yes, you did tag me, and I always share your stuff, by the way. Just FYI, in case you didn't notice. All right. All right, so I'm going to show you this right now. This is handwrytten.com. It's written HAND and then WRYTTEN. Handwrytten.com will handwrite note cards for you and send them out for you. You can even create automation with the note cards where they go out every so often to the same person with a different message. Okay, you could pick the style of handwriting. It's signed by you. It's super cool, right? You can look at this. Cards start at $3.25, by the way. I don't know when was the last time you went to Hallmark or Walgreens or a pharmacy and looked at a Hallmark card. They're like $7, $8, right? So now cards start at $3.25. You're saving a ton of money. Audience.com. Audience.com is another method that you can use. Again, handwritten, has a QR code to bring them back to you. It helps you retain clients. It helps you book meetings, close deals, earn more prospects, right? Rewarding high value customers and so forth and so on with consistent communication. This is amazing, right? Another one is Client Giant. Now, I love Client Giant because Client Giant will automate gift sending for you. How crazy is that, right? So think about this. So this is on the real estate page. They do it for different industries, right? They got retention plans and then they got a transaction package, right? So let's look at this package real quick. You have a buyer for $349 for that one buyer, which by the way, you guys are like $349. That's a lot of money. Dude, you're about to earn 5-6 grand off of this client or more, 10 grand, 15 grand in some cases, 30 grand in other cases, right? Like the money's real. So reinvest in yourself by taking care of the client, right? So they have ongoing during the entire package. They have typically sends in 1 to 4 days an under contract gift. Oh my God, you're under contract, some chocolates, some cool stuff like that, right? Then the next thing that goes out typically sent 6 to 10 days later, some boxes, tape, and other moving supplies. How great is that, right? Like, hey, get ready to pack your stuff up. You're moving out, right? And then they help them about 21 to 25 days out. They help them with forwarding addresses and transferring of utilities and stuff like that. Conditions removed. All right. So they get their conditions out of the way. Midway milestone surprise. Transaction closes. They get a handwritten note. Possession of the property. They get 2 tickets to a movie night experience. There's a personalized gift in there. There's gift tailored to client interest, typically sends in 37 to 52 days. There's choices of professional services. There's celebrity dinner for 2 round trip transportation. Guys, this is all included. You're not paying extra for this, right? So how crazy, how dope is that, right? You got sellers, you got investors, you got loans, right? Like, oh, I'm a lender. Let me get in here, loan approval, funding date, so forth, so on, right? What a great way to automate, by the way, the entire system for your client. This is not you sitting down to think to yourself, oh gosh, I forgot to send a congratulatory kind of message or note or something. No, man, it's happening for you. You're good. And you can pause them, you can restart them. Now that's just the transaction ones. Look at the retention plans, right? So now let's say top of mind and top of mind plus, right? So I put somebody on a $99 a year plan, right? So if I do that, see gift examples, they get little towels, they get toiletry bags, they get sleeping masks, they get aroma diffusers, they get all kinds of stuff. But this is happening on a consistent basis. You guys can dig into this and look at this, right? Now, there's another one here a friend of mine has. This one is called happygrasshopper.com. So happygrasshopper.com is a nurturing system. This is for your sphere of influence. This is for the people that you know personally, and this is for previous clients, right? And so with happygrasshopper.com, what you're going to find is that you put them in a system, and what they will do is send automatic emails out. They will send text messages out, and they will send voicemails out for you, like voicemail drops, right? Where it just, you know, the phone doesn't ring, but it says, oh, you got a new voicemail, right? Guess what? You're recording the voicemails. Hey, how are you? Just want to check up on you. They give you the scripts. It's crazy, right? All you got to do is say that stuff, record it, write to them. Super simple. All replies come directly to you. Massive return on investment because you're staying in communication with all your old clients, with your sphere of influence. You're being resourceful, but you're also being intentional. All right, guys, that's the end of today. I know that I started running towards the end there at like super high speed. I'm super hyped up. Crazy part is I'm just happy to be here because I've only had a couple sips of my cold brew, right? And I think that over the next week, you guys have a lot to really look at. And one of those big things that you got to look at is, am I systemized? Look at your business. Are you truly using your CRM? Do you have your calendar time blocked and blocked out and ready to go, right? Do you have processes built out for your transactions when you go under transaction? Do you have processes to even get a transaction? How many deals are you looking to close? What does that equate to? Watch this video 3-4 freaking times this week if you need to, okay? But I want you guys to get massively systemized. Again, all of this is happening. Think about everything we've talked about for the last few weeks. All of this is happening so that you can document it and delegate it. Guys, I just want you to like dream to yourself that this business is your business. I don't care if you work for Remax, EXP, LPT, Johnson & Johnson, ABC Loans. I don't care who you work with, okay? The point is that you are an independent contractor. You are in sales. You run your business and you systemize your business in accordance with that. You could jump up and leave to another company tomorrow. And if you're systemized, there are no hiccups. You just have to make minor adjustments in your marketing plan, right? If you decide you want to step away from the business, but you don't want the business to die. Some of you have kids growing up to want to be you. If you're systemized, you can teach them those systems, and then you can teach them this SOP platform, and they can grow with the systems, because things today will not be the same 20 years from now. Guys, much love to you guys. Again, email is going to come out to you guys with all of today's sessions. See you guys next week. Thank you again for joining us. And if you can make it to the mastermind, I highly, highly suggest you come out to the mastermind. Take care, guys.